Hello, everyone. So we'll just take a minute and then we'll start with the session. Till the time, I would like to welcome you all. We haven't met yesterday. I think some of you have met Anushka and Dejani yesterday for the sessions. I'm Anne. Um, yeah. So I hope all of you are doing well. Before we start the session, can we have just to check in all of you, can you all rate yourself from 0 to 10, how you're feeling and how your mood is on a scale of 0 to 10? 7. Okay. Would you like to tell us? Yeah, Pranjali, how good you are on a scale of 0 to 10. Would anybody like to share why they have rated the number that they have mentioned? Most of you have said 7. Okay, some of you have said 8. Okay, we have Vidhi, Charles, and Kamini who have said 8. We have Pranjali, Kosha, and Veda who have said 7. Yeah, go ahead. Somebody had raised their hands. You can go ahead and, you know, tell us why you have read. So, okay. Okay, Pranjali says she's just come back from a shopping, so she's feeling like so it's like a light okay mood. Okay, that's pretty great. Okay. Oh, Kusha says she had a hectic day that Sunday, that's why it's so okay. Okay, we have Swati who have rated herself 9. We even have Priyanka who said she's rating herself 4. Okay. Would anybody of you would like to, unmute and share why do you have rated yourself as what you have rated yourself as?
Yeah, hi ma'am. Yeah, Swati this side. Uh, I'm not able.
Hi. Hi,
Yeah,
Swati. Yeah.
I rated 9 because it's weekend Sunday and
Mm-hmm.
family time. So, in the 6 days, in the 7 days, only Sunday we are getting time to just
Mm-hmm.
enjoy with
Mm-hmm.
the family. So for
Okay.
me, every Sunday, that is full on musty and it's really very charming and warming for me. So I rated
Mm-hmm.
9.
Mm-hmm. Okay. 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 Thank you, Swati, for sharing with us. Okay. And we have few people who have shared in the chat also. Kamal, she said, Kamal has said that it's 5 because overloaded with assignments. Okay. And Zira has said that she's traveling in bus after a long time. Okay. That's why this is how you have rated yourself. Okay. Shubhra says things are pretty good. Okay. That sounds great. Hmm. Okay. So now, okay, we have few more people who are joining. Yeah. So can you all all those who have just joined right now, Um, we were just discussing about how would you like to rate yourself from the scale of 0 to 10. So would you like to share with all of us that how would you like to rate yourself from 0 to 10? Haven't got stressful. Okay. Okay, yes, Nehal, the certificates would be shared with you soon. Okay, for the stress management. Okay. Am I audible to everyone else? I mean, just received a message saying that the voice is low. Ab- am I audible? Can anybody unmute and just confirm?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Okay,
Yes, you're
okay, okay. Yeah, so Nivedita has said 7 because it was a busy and hectic Sunday, yet it has been productive. That sounds pretty great. Okay, and Mahima said 6. Okay. Okay. Would any one of you like to, unmute and share with us? Okay, so as most of you have shared about your, ratings that you have given yourself, the way you have, rated yourself, your mood. So, would you like to, share with us, that if I ask you right now, that how would you like to, connect your mood with a weather, you know, a weather state right now? What would it be? Like, for example, for me, it was my mood. I would like to rate it as a sunny, because bright and sunny, because I had a really great day today since morning. So after a long time, I could visit, you know, uh, my church, and because I could go to church, and I could meet all my friends at church in the community, and it was really fun for me. So I would say it as a bright and sunny day. Yeah, Kosha, go ahead. You have raised your hands.
yes,
So,
Kosha.
ma'am, I would associate my mood with the rainy season.
Mm-hmm.
So, not because of sadness, but I'm a bit tired today.
Okay.
Since morning, I have had back-to-back classes and workshops which I am attending. So it has
Mm-hmm.
been a bit uh, like tiring. So I
Mm-hmm.
was able to. I don't know why this happened, but I was associating it with rainy season. The mood.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
That's very nice,
Mm-hmm.
Kosha.
Thank you. Thank you, Kosha, for
Thank you for
sharing.
sharing. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So we have Priyanka who has
Welcome.
shared she feels it's cold. Okay. Anybody else who would like to share with us either on chat, or you can just unmute and share your views and tell us, let us know.
Okay, Zaida saying that is sunny. Shubhra saying it's hopeful and promising. Okay, and then we see foggy. Any one of you want to speak on it? Something?
Okay. Yeah, yeah. So the question is that we were just trying to, understand how we are feeling today, how is our mood today. So we were just checking on that. So the question is that you have to, rate your mood in terms of a weather. Okay, a particular weather, or particular, weather type that you would like to symbolize your mood as. I hope it is clear. Okay, Hemlata says it's cloudy, mind full of thoughts. Yeah, sunshine. Okay,
Sunshiny. Yes.
okay, sunny.
Anjali,
Okay,
sunny.
yeah, yeah.
Mahima also sunny. So a lot of you are saying it's sunny. Even Anne
Okay,
is also feeling very bright and sunny today.
yeah. Yes,
So,
Han. I hope your name is pronounced as Hansa. Yes, Hansa. You can go
No, it's
ahead.
Husna.
Okay, sorry. I'm so
Yeah,
sorry.
so no, that's all right. That happens with me a lot. I feel like the rainy season, it's like the rain is not happening, but it's about to happen. The restlessness is kind of a thing that I feel right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Hasna, for sharing with us. Okay, Pranjali says it's sunny because it's Sunday. No Monday blues today. That's pretty great. Okay, so Charles also says it's sunny. Okay. Okay, we have few people who said spring and flowery. Shubhra says it's spring and flowery. Disha says it's sunny. Would anybody like to share like what they feel when they're saying that it's sunny? Because I think definitely we associating our mood to a particular weather might be different from each one of us. Our way of explaining what that particular uh, weather would mean to us. So, would anybody like to, share with the whole group if you're
Maima
comfortable?
says happy and cheerful.
Okay,
Okay, Maima.
that's great. Yeah, yeah, we
Dinners,
can.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. Unmute and speak.
Please do pronounce your name as well so that we know.
It's Dina's.
Okay, okay.
Dinners.
So I typed sunshiny because whenever I'm about to learn something new, I get really this exciting, like I feel excited. So I think that was the first and only thought that came to my mind because I'll be learning something new or learn something more elaborate on something that I might know from some other concept. So yeah, I'm excited, as you can see from my tone and my voice.
Yeah, quite relatable by the tone. Yeah, true.
Thank you, Dinas, for sharing. I hope I pronounced it right.
Yeah, but your name is also very nice, Dinners. Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Anybody else who would like to share, or we'll just move ahead with the next. Okay, it feels that we can move ahead. I would take the silence as a positive response. Okay, so the next question is we're putting a little, we all have to put a little thought into it. So, any five things that you are grateful, okay, you feel that you're grateful for from, let's say, in last 1 month, in this month of February, any five things that you feel you're very grateful for. Anyone, you can like, you can take 2 minutes to just give it a thought and maybe share on the chat, or you can raise your hands and then unmute yourself. Mehna says family. Okay.
Healthy food. Oh, wow. Gun money, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Mm,
Saida says family and health. Okay, guys, we've asked for five. You guys can increase the number, okay? No issues. You can be grateful. You can think about anything, any small thing also that you're grateful since last 1 month.
okay. So Krishna Priya says new
New
opportunities, new people.
opportunities, people, and family.
Yeah. Kiran says family, friends, cousins, job, health. That's
Perfect
great.
five.
Yeah. And we have Kanmani who has added two more to her list. That's
Okay, it's
friends
friends
and
and
pets.
pets. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Shubhra says it's health, ambience, friends, prayers got answered, and new clients. Oh, wow. I can very relatable to the new clients, of course.
Kusha says I have art in my life.
Okay,
That's
great.
great. Okay. Would anybody like to unmute and share
Yeah.
with us? Okay. Yes, yes, Husna, you can go ahead.
Yeah, so one thing is that the colleges are online yet. I'm happy for that. I got fairy lights in my room. My relationship with my mom has been better in this past 1 month. and getting new clients
Mm-hmm.
and a recent haircut that I had.
That's great. That's great. I mean, yeah, like colleges being online, I think that's something many people can relate. I mean, that's something is which is very relaxing, and also clients, you know, getting new clients. Thank you, Husna, for sharing with us. We have few answers in chat as well. Okay, we have Kusha saying that new opportunities, then Himlata saying that myself for taking care of myself. Yeah, that's a biggest thing. I mean, as being that's pretty great. Good sleep, having good hobby. Then Kanini has added one more to her list, which is freedom that my parents gave. Okay, that's pretty nice. Okay, we have Swaha. I hope that's how the name is pronounced. Focusing on self, new opportunities, finding a new hobby, completing 5 years of marriage, saying no when required. Okay, okay. Swaha, I would like to wish you the same. Like like you just mentioned about 5 things, and one of them is completing 5 years of marriage, and we would also like to congratulate you for the same. Okay, Mariam.
Mariam is we will start now. It's 3 p.m. here in the country.
Yeah, yeah. We're just
Okay.
starting. We'll once we have just went through all the.
Yeah, yeah. We just waiting for a few more people to reply and then we'll start soon. Mariam. Yeah. Okay, Dinas again says, I am super grateful to see some past issues resolved with which I was struggling with since 6 to 7 years. I'm grateful to have a bookshelf, okay, family time, small yet supportive friend group, feeding the stray cats. Okay, that's really nice to hear, Dinas. So, yeah. Then Mahima also says, yoga, cycling, my daughter back to school, job opportunities, making praying important as a part of my routine. Okay, okay. Anybody else?
Okay. We would like to thank all of you for participating and
No, yeah. So, okay, there is one more. Charles says that family, friends, job, exercises, pets, and prayers. So I think almost all of us are always thankful and grateful to little things that are a part and parcel of a life. And so I guess now let's move on
to the session.
to the
So
session.
before we start, just a quick recap. We'll start with a quick recap of what we did yesterday. So would like one of you would who attended the sessions would like to
Yeah, just like a small brief recap on whatever we discussed, like whichever part you like. Like I think
Hmm.
we have covered certain parts of attachment theory. You guys have also discussed about different attachment that you feel, whether in terms of your partner having it or even you people, like going through certain things. So anything, any part of whatever has happened yesterday, if you want to share, if you want to speak on it, something, some insight will be really helpful for us to know that whether you are understanding anyone. Like it can be even a line or 2 lines, or you can even recall something that you liked the most in yesterday's session. So anyone?
Okay, so okay, we have one reply from Swapna. It was again regarding the same question we asked yet before. Thank you, Swapna, for replying. And yeah, so we'll move for today's session. Okay. Before that, if anybody of you have missed yesterday's session, we were just discussing about yesterday. We started with, checking on what is attachment, and what are different types of attachment styles, and how, what are different types of attachment that everyone feels they have, the style they share with in their different relationships. Okay, these are few things which we discussed, and if you have missed, definitely you can go to our YouTube channel and check yesterday's session, which has been uploaded there. You can definitely go through that session, and tomorrow when we'll be meeting again, you can, if you have any doubts, you can share with us there, or you can also comment on the YouTube video, and we'll get back to on discussing about the same. So when we start with today's session, here we have a question for all of you. I hope the screen is visible. So we have this question for all of you.
So guys, are you able to see the screen?
Yeah, I guess because a lot of them are answering. Yes.
So guys, the question that we want to ask you is, what do you think the word needs mean to you? I guess we did not recap, right, Debjani? Regarding
Yesterday's?
yeah, did we recap
Yeah,
for
yeah,
it?
we just went through a small recap, but then I didn't see anyone speaking, so we didn't understand.
Okay. We talked about attachment styles yesterday, and we did talk about how the effect of childhood somehow. But we want to ask you guys today is, what needs mean to you? Kosha, go ahead. You want to answer something?
Yeah, yeah, Kosha, go
Yes.
ahead. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, I feel the biggest difference between need and want is that need has to do more with survival.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
like
Yeah.
when we talk about, okay, example, Maslow's hierarchy of needs talks about various forms of needs like self-esteem, the
Mm-hmm.
physiological. So the theory talks about needs, but then it also talks about how when the higher or lower order needs play a very important role. So when those needs are not established, it ultimately leads to other problems. So need is much more important
Mm-hmm.
as
For
it
the
is based on
survival.
survival. Whereas want has to do more with what we are looking forward to or more with our desires or our expectations.
You're right. You're very much correct there, Kosha. It's along the same lines, the difference. And we have other responses as well, here about, I think, want is not necessary, Mariam wrote. It's the same as what Kosha said. Exactly. Need is necessary, and need is the necessity that we all want in life, like basic security, housing, food, water. These are necessities. And similarly, with the, in life, once we have the security needs, once we have the basic needs, there are much many more needs that human wants, human needs for survival. We are social beings, right? We also need, there are self-esteem needs, there are love and belongingness needs, which we will be discussing right now. But the one thing that differentiates wants and needs is basically the idea of necessity. Is it essential, as Nivedita has written? Exactly. Is it necessary? Is it essential? Will my survival depend on um, the want or the need? But needs mean that, it's something which is very essential for our own survival. So Pranjali has written, needs and want differ. Needs are something which we cannot live without. Basic things in life. Wants are the one that want mostly like to fulfill. We would like to fulfill. Exactly. I would like a dress, but it's not a need for me. It's not something I can't survive without, right? It's not something that I need to get in order to survive. Of course, in winters you would need a sweater, but if I want a sweater, not from a shop nearby my house, if I want a sweater from a very costly showroom, that's a want. That's how differentiate between a want and need. So I guess most of us are very much clear. Even Mehnaz has written very much on the similar lines. Most of you have written on the similar lines about how needs and wants are different for survival and basically essential for survival. Uh, exactly. So Kosha has written, yeah, ma'am wants helps us to define purpose. Exactly. They drive us to, they motivate us to reach our goals or something like that. That's I think what you mean, right, Kosha?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. So now that we have a basic idea of what wants and needs are, let's go to the next slide. Understand what we are dealing with today. Can someone tell me what they might think this pyramid is? You might have seen it. Most of you are psychology enthusiasts, and you might have
Maslow's
heard
hierarchy.
plenty,
Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
so
Yeah.
many answers. Very enthusiastic. Thank you so much. So yes, when we talk about needs, even if you guys are not from psychology background, we would like to introduce this concept to you, which is every human being has 5 needs. Okay, which are psychological, physiological needs, which is also called basic needs. This is the basic need that a human needs to have. And would you like to like explain the needs?
You're talking about, okay.
Huh.
Okay, am I audible?
Yeah, I think I have so much noise here.
Yeah, sure. So we see that they're like, divided into three parts, segments, and the needs are the physiological needs, the psychological needs, and the self-fulfillment needs, which is basically the higher order of the hierarchy. So once our basic needs, like the physiological needs, which includes, like the food, water, just like many of you mentioned, are basic requirements of life, ones are met, which also includes the safety part. That's when we move to our psychological needs. So within the hierarchy we can even see like how you know these go in order from the physiological needs, which are a very basic needs, to where we reach to our psychological, and then the final part is where we reach to a position of self actualization, where it is more in terms of more awareness, and where we are in a stage where we are able to particularly focus about us as an individual in terms of self fulfillment, the needs of to be in terms of the creative activities or creative needs that we have to fulfill. So the basic needs, as I just said, includes the basic necessities of an individual, which are required for day-to-day lives in terms of food, water, your um, the safety needs, like your security and safety in terms of, it can be physical as well, right? A shelter is a basic safety need that all of us require. Similarly, when we move to the psychological needs, it talks more in terms of our relationships, our friendships, or our intimate relationships with people. That's basically the feeling of belongingness and the love, the need for love that we share with people, right? And then comes our self-esteem needs, okay, where there is a it's more about the feeling of accomplishment. And once we have reached our psychological needs. Then we move to our self actualization position, where it is more about, uh, receiving the achieving the, like, the full of your potential, right? Uh, where we are in a position to, acquire more things that takes to us to the fulfillment of our potential. So would anybody like to, share with us, like, what do they feel, like, what all needs have they met, and where do you think you.
Yeah, like what all needs have you met? And until now, like for me, I think I'm still working on belongingness and love needs. I'm still working on that because I'm still college going, and I'm still working on having a social circle, having social friends, and that kind of a company. What about you guys? Devjani, would you like to?
Yeah, I mean, even for me, I think we are also like, even I'm in a state of building more intimate relationship, like to feel safe, to find a safe space, and like make myself feel content to the relationship that I'm trying to build around people. So I think the psychological needs are more dominating right now over my basic needs. So yeah,
Yeah, I think
yeah,
basic needs have been met for.
yeah. A lot of us, yeah, yeah.
What about you guys? Psychological needs, okay. Yeah, even I'm at that state and I can relate. Psychological needs are something that we're. That's
I'm in
great.
such
Neha.
phase,
Hmm,
I believe, working towards self actualization. Great
that's
one.
great. Yeah.
Esteem
Esteem.
needs. Yeah.
Anybody else who would like to unmute and tell us?
Yeah, guys, anyone wants to speak? Wants to like speak on this? Anyone?
I feel like I keep on oscillating between the belongingness and the esteem needs.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's the same. It's it's
Yeah,
quite
it's a
same.
very complicated. I think it's a very complicated cycle also. Like even if you at times reach a place of feeling
Mhm.
accomplished or having a sense of prestige within yourself, if there is again, like a kind of a disruption in terms of relationships that you're forming while getting and curing whatever you want to, it drops to the psychological needs. So again, that wire that happens. So it's very important that we need to meet those stage needs for different stages so that we can go up. So yeah,
Mhm.
quite relatable. Yeah,
A lot of people are working towards self-actualization. That's how it works because it's a hierarchy, right? Maslow
yeah.
says you can't go on to be self-actualized if you don't meet your other needs. Your needs below need to be
Yeah,
fulfilled so that you can move up.
yeah. That's
So
why
of
there are
course,
always chances of dropping if the things are not set or not met properly. So
yeah,
yeah.
and all of these are also connected to what we were talking about yesterday in the attachment styles and how a lot of things like security, safety comes from the kind of attachment we create with our parents. Warmth, again, physiological need is something that we gain from our parents and our initial caregivers, primary caregivers. So that's something that we wanted to highlight from the pyramid of needs. But thank
Yeah.
you for sharing, guys. That most of us are working towards get being self-actualized. Most of us are at the pace of having psychological needs. That's great. So the theme for today's topic is basically the unmet needs of our childhood, and we trying to heal them through various ways. You know, we can go ahead to the next slide. And so, what we need to talk about is the influence of past. Um, we did talk that it's not necessarily the main thing for What if your basic needs are not fulfilled by your parents? That's what we will talk about, Priyanka, how it can impact the present, the influence of the past on the present, and on relationships, basically. So, when we talk about relationships, we did talk about it not only being romantic, it not only being friendships. All relationships universally are affected by our past, the influence of the past, not only from our parents, again, but a lot of other things. Maybe your first crush, maybe your first relationship, maybe your first friendship, second friendship can affect how your college friends are made. So, the influence of the past. Um, when as a counselor, I'm often surprised by how many of my clients believe, that what ails them is simply a matter of personal defect or inherent weakness in their own ability to cope with things. They do not hold their present state accountable due to the total lack of awareness about their past, the lack of awareness of how much the influence of past can be the issues that are stemming right now. So how do you think influence of the past is particularly present in today, in your relationships today? Does anybody have any opinion to share about that? We can take some opinions and then we can go ahead and talk about it. Anybody any opinion about the influence of the past on today?
There is a mention in the chat which says basic needs that are not fulfilled by your
Uh-huh.
parents.
Yeah, we did talk about it. I did
Yeah.
acknowledge it. We'll be talking about it, Priyanka, don't worry.
Yeah.
Mariam has written, I think most parents here in the Arabic countries only care about the basic needs and ignore the other needs. Okay. Anushka has written, past is a substantial part of our life and it definitely affects our present and future relations. Psychological needs are affected by the past incidents. Yes, of course. Um, it can also slow down or um, make it quicker for you to reach your self actualization, your past
Yeah.
experiences. It basically um, affects all of your needs, all the above needs. So, past creates a kind of pattern that we follow even now in relationships. We learn things from past and raise or lower our expectations for future. So Afrin has written, my sister used to be impatient with me when I used to have my meals. Same happens to me now. I became impatient when someone is eating slowly. Hmm.
Yeah, I think the influence of past needs can be either in a positive direction or lead us to a negative direction. I mean, that totally depends on how the influence is coming. For example, just like we talk about the psychological needs being affected, there are like when we talk about relationships in terms of any relationships, from our social relationships to our relationship with ourselves, in terms
Right,
of psychological needs, there's a position where we're talking about belongingness and also self-esteem. So sometimes what happened is when the influence of past can be in such a term that we are just like we are oscillating in between the self-esteem part, the esteem needs, and the belongingness and love part, where it just becomes difficult to understand at times for us as a whole that where are we as an individual, ourselves, like am I being, for example, there can be a situation of am I being loved or not. It just becomes difficult to understand. It can be from the past influence. At the same time, some people would have just developed their understanding of self-love to an extent in very much that they do know like where they do lie.
right. The past creates a kind of pattern that we even follow even now in relationships, has Husna has written. Um, kind of very similar to what we were talking about yesterday, right? Attachments, how we create attachments in relationships. Abhishek has written, we learn things from past and raise. Yeah, so we did talk about it, I think, and it shed light on that particular.
Yeah, I
to me.
mean, yeah, definitely that raises and lowers our expectations for future.
Of course.
Sometimes I think that becomes a learning point, and sometimes that does become the
Mhm.
point where we don't want to continue about it. But I think, yeah, that's how the oscillation part continues for many of
Yeah,
us.
exactly. There are a lot of events in a person's development, right? And that can leave indelible marks, like very huge marks on you, huge scars on you, and come to cause distress and symptoms later in life. So these psychological events that are caused are centered around a person's growth and safety needs, not being met by others around them, and thereby causing these psychological distress that we're talking about, as you mentioned, Abhishek. The expectations and your expectations getting broken, and those expectations lowering or developing more in terms of what your psychological events are. There's too much noise. So sorry, guys. Uh, Maybe you guys can.
Yeah, I mean, we have like Niveta, she said, yes, there is, especially when it related to siblings and parents. Okay. We also have controlling parents leads to very timid and submissive children. Yeah. When Mariam says that it appears as trauma and self harming, unhealthy patterns, unconsciously toxic relationships. Yeah, definitely. Our needs in the base of psychological needs can definitely, most of the time, lead us into paths like the way we were just talking about, how lowering our expectations, which goes into affecting us in a very, turmoil, putting us into a big turmoil. Yeah, Dinas says, I think how a person views their part does influence their present mindset, and their future goals depends from person to person. Definitely, definitely. It's very subjective in nature, I think. Even though we have a whole pyramid that we are talking about, which mentions about our needs, but how we
Right. And also, one more thing that I wanted to bring about was, of course, therapy is very helpful. What we are talking about is the influence of past on today. We all agreed that there is this influence of the past on what we are today and the relationship that we form today. Luckily, sometimes through therapy, people are able to appreciate and acknowledge the challenges posed to them by their life events and the traumatic events that have caused them harm or distress, and understand their various ways of their past, right? And to basically understand and accept that this is how that past shapes their behavior in the present. So sometimes a lot of us are not lucky enough to be able to avail therapy or go to counseling. But what we want to bring into concept is the appreciation and acknowledgement given to your past and what those events have caused you, and to basically
I think
rewrite the
to
narrative.
yeah, to basically to become aware of,
Yeah,
how to just bring in awareness, like, okay, this is
last time also
something,
we,
yeah, this is something that has been a part of my past, and there are patterns that is manifesting in the present.
hmm,
So in this case, if you are more aware of the fact that, okay, these are the times where we probably couldn't being able to understand, like what is like why this is leading to such kind of a manifestation in certain relation or any form of relationship you're trying to be in, whether it's friendship or in romantic relationship. Like at times we see that,
yeah,
the breakup patterns or being isolated to certain groups, and like being alone or being with only certain kind of a people, we don't understand like why we're doing so. So I think awareness is one of those aspects which will help us to at least acknowledge that, okay, this is not something that is the only defining characteristics that I carry. I have been through something which is, leading me to this place today. So I guess
hmm.
awareness plays a very important role. Yeah.
Exactly, Devjani. So awareness is the first step of the past. We were also talking about this in the last session. I think someone posed a question regarding how unlearning and learning, right? Unlearning and learning cannot happen if it's subconscious. If you're not aware consciously that this is an issue, how will a client work on it, right? How will anybody work on these things if they are not consciously aware? So of course the awareness is important. Therapy helps, but if you're not into therapy or you're not able to avail therapy, introspection helps, and reflecting and talking to your inner child helps, right? Once you have that awareness, you basically change and rewrite the narrative of the past and try to reintegrate those difficult or painful experiences that you've experienced. So that is how your past can be changed in a way that helps your present behave more in terms of what you want them to behave, right? So we'll go to the next slide now that we've understood the influence of the past, and we'll talk about the unmet needs that causes a lot of psychological issues in adulthood. So, as we talked about, you know that there are various events in a person's growth during the developmental years. We come around so many psychological events that cause distress to us, and what happens is these events are around our growth and our development. Hence, somehow I would use the word impairing the development in a way that it leaves a void, it leaves a gap, and there are these unmet needs that are caused, that you would like to fulfill, and that you would like to, um, that basically causes you distress. These words, these unmet needs. So the first very common unmet need is, the need for secure attachment that I have written here. So does anybody want to like guess what a secure attachment is? Anybody has any opinions to share about this? Yeah, Kausha, go ahead.
So, ma'am, according to me, secure attachment is formed during early years in a
Mm-hmm.
way where children are, they feel a sense of warmth, safety, when
Right.
parents are responsive to the basic needs of the child. So, it is as simple as when a child is crying. So, what is a parent's response to it? I'm
Right.
just giving an example. So, when children feel that warmth, safety, uh, they will have sense of importance that they matter. I think that is a subconscious belief that usually inner child would carry.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, so it's more to do with safety, affection,
And basic needs of, need and comfort.
yeah, need and
Yes, yes.
comfort.
Exactly, Kosha. So that's what we were trying to tell you about. Human beings are wired to the need of comfort and attention, just as much as we need food and oxygen. Because that's, if you see in the physiological needs of the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, there are some more needs which are not written there. One of them is warmth, one of them is comfort and attention during the childhood. And if we grow up in environments where we could not always count on our caregivers or to help us when we needed them, then we would like to have experienced their absences as life threatening and have to develop ways to provide for ourselves. So you become the parent when your parent is not there, when your parents are absent. We did talk about absent parents yesterday in the attachment styles, and how caregivers might not be present and we become the parents, right? And we did talk about one of the styles, which is your I'm not remembering which style it was, but I think it was I'm not sure. So I won't say ambivalent. I think ambivalent insecure attachment is what goes on to become when your parents are absent. And what happens is either you become very self-reliant, overly self-reliant, by suppressing our needs for connection. So when your parents are absent, you try to become the parent, and what you want to do is want to repress all the connection needs. I don't need someone to help me connect with my feelings. I don't need anybody to help me with my feelings of distress. So what they try to do is they try to anxiously try to please others rather than discovering their true self. What your focus goes on to become is, I will shape myself in a way that others like me. Like my parents did not like me. I don't know why they did not like me, but now because I'm making socially a social circle, I'm making my friends. I want them to stay in my life. I don't want them to be absent. So I will mold myself in a way that they like me and they recognize me. So rather than discovering one's true self, they try to mold themselves as what the friends want them to be or the social circle want them to be. What this does is it causes a very huge conflict for the person. Can also lead to um, BPD if goes on for a longer time. BPD is borderline personality disorder, um, but can go on to cause so much confusion in terms of what my personality is, who am I, and what I represent becomes such an important issue. So the need for secure attachment stems from the very basic understanding of comfort and attention. So yeah, did you want to say something, Anne?
No, I was just going to say that just as you mentioned about the borderline personality disorder part, like where there is a constant, feeling of anxiousness to even get attached to people in later
Right,
stage of your life when you are in adulthood. There's this anxiousness that is prevailing around it, where in terms you just feel that now being attached to someone becomes an issue for as an adult, which is like a common feature which comes into the borderline
right,
personality
right,
disorder.
right. Also, when we were talking about Ainsworth's attachment styles and everything, we did talk about how there's this one attachment style where you're too clingy, where you become too clingy. Um, does anybody remember,
Yeah,
guys?
guys, we were talking about this the last day only.
They're very clingy. They become very
Clingy and they
needy.
just need it. I think I gave some example also. Like,
Yeah,
they will not let the partner, leave even in genuine grounds.
right.
Yeah.
I just mentioned that
Yes.
um,
I think a lot of people are answering. Yeah.
it's
Krishna
ambivalent. It's not avoidant insecure. Avoidant
is
are very much
anxious attachment. Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Yes.
ambivalent attachment is the right one, where they become very clingy, and if your need for secure attachment is not met, you go on to become a very ambivalent attached person. It's some prediction, not you cannot fully guarantee that person will become like this, but basically it can predict a behavior where they are trying to cling on to their partner because they feel like they will leave them, sometimes even suffocating their partners, ultimately precipitate their rejection basically. So that is what we wanted to talk about, the need for secure attachment. Now we have the need for
Ma'am,
mirroring. Yes,
ma'am, does this need for secure attachment differ in male and female?
of course it does, of course it does. um, there is a different understanding of attachment styles also in males and females, and how we connect, and how but there's a basic understanding. See, needs are basic and universal: warmth, food, love, comfort, attention. But how we manifest it in our behaviors might differ in terms of gender, and that is different for different people. Even attachment styles are different in terms of their manifestations in the behavior as per a male or a female or any other gender. Okay, so does that answer?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So we have the second unmet need, which is the need for mirroring. Some people feel empty. Men are from Mars and women are from Venus. Yeah, Mariam. Some people feel empty, out of touch with themselves, and not quite sure of their interest. So oftentimes these phenomena can occur as a result of absence of mirroring when we are growing up. Does anybody know what mirroring is? Yeah, Kosha, go ahead.
Ma'am, I would not exactly say it, but mirroring is when humans have that need where they look for similarity
Mm-hmm.
in quality with others.
Right.
Uh,
So, very much on the same lines. Do you want to add something else, Kosha?
no, no, that
Okay.
was the whole.
Okay. We're getting a little more responses. Someone who is seeing my achievements. Very, very correct, Mariam. Imitation. Anushka has written, expecting the other person to be somewhat like us. Right. Pranjal has written reflection. So mirroring in its essence means, the need to be seen. Yes. Mirroring means that the person around us or the people around us respond to us in a way that mirrors back to us. That what we're doing is good and worthwhile. Okay. And worthy of attention. And so it's kind of a validation कि जो हम कर रहे हैं, what we're trying to do or what we're doing is worthy of attention, and we get like a sense of validation कि हाँ, you're doing great, good. So when others see you as good, worthwhile, interesting, competent, and so on, we eventually come to feel this way about ourselves, right? We make up this idea कि अच्छा, if everybody is having a positive image of ourselves reflected back to us, we come to feel that we have a worth and value, and we can then live life from the inside out rather than frantically trying to seek approval and validation from others, right? So having positive mirroring childhood where we were appreciated for our efforts, for the way we behaved, the way we conducted ourselves, or even the way we eat, okay, can be the way we basically have a positive self image. And we have these self doubts about ourselves in our adulthood because we were not somewhere appreciated for those things, or we were made, how would I say, negative remarks were passed regarding those things. So for me, like I have this complex regarding slouching. I slouch when I'm walking, and I had been pointed out that a lot by my family and my friends, which resulted in having that negative self image about slouching, and how if you have a straight back you are confident, if you don't you're not confident. That was there when I was a child, and it went on to go carried on when I am an adult. I've tried to work on that, but then this is a pure example of mirroring, and how what we wanted and the crave for attention or the validation that we needed was somehow not positive or positive. It basically influences what we are right now. So does anybody want to now speak about mirroring as a need for, as an unmet need basically? Does anybody want to share their experience of the unmet need for mirroring?
Hi, I had a question
Yeah,
about
Bhumika.
this. Uh, what if a parent only appreciate and validate an action of a child which they think is right, is appropriate according to what they said, and the child grows up believing only that, and later on realizes that this is what I have been doing the way the parents wanted, and it's not right.
Mhm. So you mean to say, what if they were not doing right and they were validated and they go on to do that,
Yeah,
think
correct.
this is right,
Yes.
right? That's very, how can we take guarantee of something like that, matlab, how can we generalize something like that? But what we wanted to talk or convey was basically the approval and attention for good efforts, or the efforts the child is putting to do something, is what we wanted to bring attention to in the need for mirroring. But um, of course the parent needs to stop the child when they think they're not doing something which is great, or which is not appropriate for the child, which could hurt them, which is something conflicting, or of course that should be there. And how the child takes it is also kind of course, any kind of saying no or saying this is not right or could affect the child. Why am I being said no? And that's when the conflict occurs. But it is also the responsibility of whoever is saying no to make you understand that this is why I'm saying no. Yeah, yeah, Anne, go ahead.
Just to add what Anushka was saying, when it comes to mirroring, it's more about, receiving a positive side of how you are doing things,
Yeah,
that positivity being reflected towards to you. And it's like you're being validated on terms of like in a positive way, rather than putting you in a situation which leads or makes the child as a more anxious
yeah,
or or irritated person. So like reflecting back something positive in a positive way to you, not in a negative, for example, not, let's not say negative, but in terms not in a way which is putting you in a situation of emotions which are putting you into self doubt maybe in the later part. I mean,
right.
that's what mirroring is more in terms like when the needs are not met in a channelized in a positive manner, that makes you yeah,
Exactly.
just like demotivating more.
We don't want to demotivate the child, but what we are also, even if they're doing something wrong, constructive criticism is the word I would like to use. Could be helpful in telling the child that this is may not be the right way to approach things. And at the end of it, the need for mirroring is just to understand what we are trying to do is worthwhile of attention, is worthwhile time of others. So Abhishek has asked, what if toxic traits are given positive regard without even parents realizing they are toxic? Can these be unlearned? Unlearning is a process that can happen anytime if you have the awareness to unlearn. But then, anyways, if the parents themselves are not aware that these are toxic traits, for example, लड़कों को नहीं रोना चाहिए is something that has been carried on from a very long time in the Indian tradition. It's also very toxic for the men to yeah, Dr. Mukesh has written best way to respond to treat with respect.
Respect.
Correct. So yeah, so that's do not get it in
Yeah,
negative
to like I think to answer Abhishek's like question, I would say that you know like how Anushka said, like if you're asked as a guy not to cry, and if you still choose not to cry when you feel like okay, that's one of those ways that I can express or
how
release
to
my
express.
emotion.
Yeah,
Yeah, instead of repressing it, then I think there is a stage or a point where you have making yourself or have reached the point of awareness that okay, whatever was taught to me is not something that is helping me. And if you
it's
also
not healthy
choose,
for me.
yeah,
Yes,
not healthy, not helping me, and if you still choose to like follow things that your parents unknowingly have asked you to do,
taught
or
you.
have, yeah, taught you, and in whatever way you have adapted to it, then I think then that remains as a problem in your emotional development or in your acknowledgement, I would say. Yeah.
So exactly. So when we're talking about, as Devjani mentioned, unlearning can happen as an adult only if you want it to happen. And there are so many things talk. There are so many unhealthy patterns of behavior that were taught in the childhood, even without parents knowing it was unhealthy. It's only
Yeah, I
because of the
mean,
psychoeducation. Yeah,
yeah.
Dr. Mukesh. Go ahead. You want to say something?
Ma'am, I'm audible?
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
you are.
Good evening. Good evening to all, ma'am. This is a very, you can say, interesting topic regarding to the parenting and all the childrens with the age group. Whenever
Right.
the whenever the childrens are facing their teenage, they are always accepting that ki we are doing right, or you can say we are we are on the right path. But
Mhm.
age per the parental aspect, parent thinks that we are trying to convey our experience to our children so that they not get the uh, exact problem we have faced in our life. That is the
Mhm.
big gap between the children and the parents. So what I suggest, the parents should have some uh, good communication with their children, like friend, make them friend, or for children they should have communicate every each and every problem, each and every positive and negative out there, relate their problems and communicate their problem. Is there any communication gap between them, then the problem rise a higher side. This is my view.
Right, right. Very correct regarding the communication. And also, I think you mentioned about treating with respect. So I think we all agree with that point.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I think we all agree to that point.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I guess.
what
Yeah.
we wanted to convey is, of course, there's no perfect parenting and there's no perfect child by definition, because, anyways, perfect is the ideal of what we want to have. But what we can do with ourselves and in the developmental times or
Yes.
during parenting as a child is have that communication between both of us
Yeah, and
as a
also I feel, sir, that along with developing the communication or the space that you're getting a space to communicate your feelings, I think questioning also is very important, like from
right,
both the ends. Yeah, I
right,
mean, yeah, like if there is a lack of questioning in the process of communication, or it's just accepting each other's views and like not questioning what like whether something is right, something is wrong, why something has to be done and not to be done. I think that's a time where a good space between the parent and the child is developed. So I
exactly.
believe questioning is also is very important. Yeah.
Thank you, Debjani.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Mukesh,
Yes,
for
thank you,
your,
sir.
yeah. So
Thank
then
you,
we
ma'am.
have
Thank you
this.
very much.
Thank you. Then we have another unmet need that we wanted to acknowledge. Somebody raise hands. No? Okay. Debjani, you're on mute. So we
Nothing,
also
nothing.
have,
Yeah.
no, okay. We have this another need for idealizing. Some people are adrift, directionless, or unmotivated because they never really had experiences of father figures, mentors, role models in their life when they really needed them. So, mm, you know, does anybody would like to talk about the idol figures? Um, what do they mean to them? Because I guess having this kind of to be perfectly perfect as I truly am I. Hmm. Hmm. Right. Right, Mariam. But these, ideal figures in our lives, like a mentor, a person who is basically keeping us under the wing until we can fly, is what we were trying to talk about. Um, trying to be perfect in this life. Right. We all have this need for this asymmetrical relationship with someone who wants to take us under their wing, as I mentioned, right? And
Yeah,
has
I
an
mean,
interest in teaching us something. Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
I'm so sorry to cut you off in between, but I
No, no.
think when we are talking in terms of childhood, it's more like somebody we're looking up to, that we have to grow up becoming into this person, like
Mhm.
having a role model or idealizing somebody. So some
Right.
some children, I think, have their one of their parents or one of their teachers, either
Exactly.
even at times, as a kid might have their elder siblings, that children always say that I want to grow up like this person,
Go on to
right?
be my mother or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, I think the need of idealizing comes as an aspect that in childhood, but when we are growing up, like some people might not feel that that idealization part on that end. I mean, that's when as a grown up there are there is a need of idealizing, which helps us, the greater aspect of knowledge that comes in, that builds in help. So I think it's more in terms of the motivation to lead and further understand, more in terms of self-awareness. That's where it comes in the picture. that's
Right.
that's my I think that's my idea. I mean,
Exactly.
anybody.
Exactly correctly as put out by um, what Anne said. This person who takes us under their wing and has interest in teaching us also, from a position of greater wisdom, if I have to put it that way. They make us feel like safe and protected, in their shadow. And then this person has this greater knowledge, this mentor that I'm idealizing, and but it also makes us to aspire, to be like them, as Anne pointed out. So, and it basically kickstarts our dreams and fantasies about who or what we want to be when we grow up, as Anne very much mentioned. Even if we were like supposed to fail, we look up to someone on how to deal with that failure. We basically even it's not necessary for a child's from a child's point of view who is a good role model, but um, we just need a role model to look up to, that safety or the concern that is there. For example, um, if I have to put it that way, I looked up to my mother a lot, and how she coped up with stressful situations, and I think I've imbibed that in myself also. So that's how, if it's unmet, if you have that unmet need of that asymmetrical
Hmm.
relationship missing, that void is missing, that can also cause a lot of issues, because of course in the developmental years you learn from your experiences, your people around you, the people you socialize with, or the social circle you are in. You basically look for people who you idealize, who you
Hmm.
think have a greater wisdom than you, and how do they cope up with situations, how do they face difficulties, how do they study, how do they, a lot of other things, basically, so that you can become independent like them when you are at that age. So that's basically the need for idealizing. Without these kind of mentoring experiences, basically we feel left out on our own devices, and then again you're not encouraged to grow and make something ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, that's a part that without those idealizing, there can be a point, where you are facing difficulty in order to choose what, how it has to go. Like, because sometimes we try to look upon our role models as in, if my role model would have been in this situation, what would have they done? Right.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes also this can happen that you had been idealizing a person for a very long time, and all of a sudden they faced a failure, which kind of starts affecting you. Okay, okay, if they have faced this, what about me now in a situation? I mean,
Exactly.
all these things comes up like while we are in a position, and more in terms of being more more self aware about ourselves. But the idealization always helps us to understand ourselves more. I mean, that's what I feel.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Thank you, Anne. Basically, that's what we wanted to convey with the need for idealizing. The last need is the need for twinship. Now, um, it's a very powerful need, and it's just the need to feel normal, or to have peers who think or feel or look like you. Basically, this makes us feel
Yeah.
that we're not strange or different, or
Or even
make
left
us,
out.
yeah, it makes us feel included, part of something, rather than isolated or unacceptable. So basically, many people have struggled, having enough twinship experiences during middle school or high school, and either because they look different, or they were bullied by their peers, or whatsoever reasons were, just they were just not popular. So this kind of negative impact, the lack of belonging and the twinship,
Hmm.
come from the psychological needs that we were talking about in the hierarchy of needs. Twinship might be mitigated by forming alternative friendships.
Yeah,
So
true.
one person who felt like an outcast in high school and weren't really a good student found a circle of other outcasts with whom he decided to do, maybe go on to do like substance abuse or something like that. So one person, basically, another person prided himself for being, that means the need to have a soulmate.
Not
Soulmate is,
exactly, Mariam. I mean, yeah.
yeah,
The thing is, it's more like, for example, you being in a space and, five, for example, if I'll take my own example, while growing up, in a school where, I was in my batch, it was just me who was a South Indian. All of other people were from the northern parts of India. And the thing was like my Hindi initially, because I studied in New Delhi, my Hindi initially was not that great. So I used to always feel left out in that terms, that I'm not able to, easily connect with other people in my class, because I used to always feel that I am the strange one who is not able to speak properly, or pronounce things properly, right? So at the same time, when while growing up, this was a great problem for me, because I used to feel that I've been left out from a lot of things, because of the culture I belong to, because of the way the food I eat, and the culture I come from, right? But then I think while growing up, I realized, when I started my graduation years, I started, and I understood that no, there are other people also in who kind of understand me, who understand me as a person. And that's where I tried to create a bond, and try to understand that it's I can be a part of a group, and I can get along with people. So it's more like you feeling strange from a set of space you are in. I hope that
exactly,
makes sense.
exactly. Yes,
What do
this
you?
would also include the bullying the person faced in
Yeah,
childhood, as
yeah.
I mentioned. Is it, for example, a person who faced bullying in the school could, as I mentioned, find another circle of outcasts who were bullied, and then maybe go on to do like substance abuse. Or what could happen is they might become this rebellious person and think outside the box, and make an identity for themselves, who are very rebellious. Another path that they can choose is to go on to become this one person who is not interested in others and just wants to isolate themselves. So needless to say, these kind of experiences impact how people feel about themselves. It is quite common, to uh, who still idealize, a lot
Mhm.
of people who want to still idealize these popular kids, very unsettled, are very unsettled and wounded by the fact that they weren't respected or accepted by their peers. So this happens regarding the need for twinship, right? Twinship does not only mean to have this one only another person. It also
It can be
means to
any
have, yeah,
space, space in terms of space, in terms of community, in terms of a lot of
more
things, I
than
think.
people, yeah, friends,
Yeah,
basically friends,
yeah.
and being accepted or acknowledged and being
I think
noticed is
yeah,
important,
feeling of strangeness within your house
right?
can be, you know, uh, a issue for a lot of kids while growing up. That some people might feel that they are, very exceptional within their house,
Right, right,
when they are not able to connect with their parents or their siblings in the way, they feel that, okay, I'm very different from them, and why I'm not able to connect to them, which in terms later on part, creates a lot of self doubt in terms of, is it just me, it's my mistake, a lot of questions, self questioning, a lot of emotional reasoning starts to happen. That at any point you start to, even personalization, there a lot of cognitive distortions coming into the space where you're just personalizing everything, each and everything that is just happening around you.
exactly. So what we wanted to talk about through these unmet needs, the list is, right now we kept it short. There could be so many more needs for growth, belongingness, efficacy, worth, um, and there can be so many sources of wounds or traumas. But by trying to fully understand your how your past has impacted you in the present, you can basically try to address those self-protective behaviors that you have been using, that are now causing you problems, basically. So that could be helpful. But how could you deal with this, is in the next slide. We'll try to wrap up um, shortly. Yeah.
So if you think about how to deal with the unmet needs, I mean, these are like for basic things, which we can, think of. So one is like healing from others, right? When we talk about healing from others, I mean, okay, before like we get into the discussion, like would anybody like to, uh, what comes to your mind when you see that healing from others when would help you? Yeah, go ahead, Kosha, go ahead.
And it's about forgiving others. If they have, if a person has faced some unpleasant experiences from the opposite person, so it would be as simple as like this tends to happen in schools where a teacher doesn't have a wrong intention towards a student, but out of anger, or she may, talk something or convey something which is not pleasant to the child, or which does become a very deep belief system. Example, I'm not a good student, so a person could carry it for years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think it has to do more with forgiveness, forgiving others. This was
Okay.
just an example which I gave, but in many situations of our lives we do face.
Yeah, definitely. Letting and forgiving does come in part, but also in terms of somebody being your support, like, that somebody, just as the example you gave, but while in growing, if you have certain friends or even a teacher who is coming up and telling you that, no, see it in a this, you are, don't think it as that you are not a good student, but
Yes, correct.
moreover trying to work on you,
Yeah.
that start working on the aspect where you feel, that this is something I'm not able to
Hmm.
understand, so just start focusing and studying, taking help from other teachers. That
Yeah.
might help, that kind
Yeah.
of healing that can come from others. Yeah, just as
Right.
Mariam said, yeah, a deep friend who is always, just as
Yeah.
Mukesh sir just mentioned, that you
Yeah.
need of a deep friend who is always supporting you, or a
Yeah.
colleague who is always praising you for even the smaller achievements that you're doing. Maybe they might not be doing it knowingly, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
yeah,
It's
but
unconscious. Yeah.
yeah, it's unconscious, and
Yeah.
even that is helping you as a person who is
Person. Yeah.
feeling a little insecure, or who
True.
is feeling to needs that support.
Yes. So, ma'am, in this case, even counseling comes under this category, isn't it?
Yes,
Yes, yes.
definitely. Yeah, Dejani, you can go ahead if you
No,
want to
yeah,
add.
you can, yeah, I wanted to answer to Kosha. Yes, of course, I think counseling is very much a part of it because I think because as we know that it creates and help us to create a safe space in
Mm-hmm.
any kind of a session that we're trying to connect to a therapist. So any kind of a problems or that point of time whenever we feel that there is a stuck point, and I think yeah, so in this way counseling will definitely help us. Yeah.
So yeah,
Okay.
that's how we see about healing from others. Yes,
Yeah,
Hasna, go ahead.
Hasna, yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure if my answer is right, but healing from others, that's come to my mind from like the beliefs that we have inculcated in ourselves due to
Yeah.
others. So letting go of that also can come under this.
Yes.
Yeah,
I think,
definitely
yeah,
that.
I think the
Hmm.
very conditioning structure that is imposed, or at times we unknowingly accept it, is something, of course, which comes under the category of healing from others, you may say, as opinions, as system. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, definitely.
Yeah.
That's also a point which can be, put into consideration when we are thinking about healing from others. I think that this all as each and every part, like, play a smaller role in connecting and helping us to, heal uh, certain or some amount of our unmet needs. And when we move further, like, when we're trying to understand the second point, which is mostly about healing from self, there we are seeing like how, so initially we try to understand how partially we can, be healed from others. Similarly, this strategy where you are trying to understand yourself more, so here we are trying to, involve and have a healthy relationship with ourselves. where we are trying to know or understand ourselves more, as in the sense where as you are growing up and you are understanding that there were certain needs that were not met by you while you're a child, and you're trying to inculcate with yourself in a way that you are able to provide that need to somebody else. So in where that you are healing yourself and also becoming a healing for others as well. So that's where I think the aspect of healing within you comes in, when you are trying to have a very positive and healthy relationship, which uh, you know um, with yourself while you are an adult, trying to inculcate a positive relationship with yourself in order to help yourself to come out of those unmet needs. I mean, yeah. Anybody who would like to say something or add something to it? Yeah, yeah, Kosha, go ahead.
So, ma'am, it would be as simple as healing your inner child by you reparenting yourself
Yeah.
from that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, definitely. Like, I think that's one of the aspects in itself of healing, is to connect your inner child, to understand what your inner child as and needs, and to parenting and connect with that inner child to help yourself to lead into understanding and meeting those needs which had to be met.
Mm.
Exactly. I think the need to connect, communicate, and nurture your inner child could be very helpful to,
Yeah.
meet these unmet needs that you have in your life. But connecting the inner child could be another one big, session. We're not going to expand that a bit, but just trying to communicate, connect, and nurture. Acknowledge a child. Firstly, acknowledge a child. The three steps that you can try to do to connect with your inner child is just acknowledge a child within, and then you start communicating with it. If you don't acknowledge, awareness is not there, then it's going to be a problem. So you start acknowledging it. Then once you do acknowledge it, you communicate with it. Find a way to hear what your inner child has to tell you, so that you can access the source of trauma or the issue, the core issue. And then you step into the role of a nurturing parent from your adult self. You give your child exactly what it needs. Does it need that warmth? Does it need that hug? So you give yourself a self-soothing hug. That if you guys have attended our stress management techniques workshop, you basically self-soothe yourself, try to give yourself that hug, try to talk to yourself the way you would have liked to be talked in your childhood. So basically acknowledge, communicate, and nurture it by being that adult. Would be very helpful
Yeah.
in you know um, having these unmet needs. So once you deal with these things, it will be helpful for you to mold your relationships in a very healthy way, and rather than unhealthy patterns of relationships that we create to fulfill that unmet need. Those for example, if you had that unmet need of idealizing someone, you didn't have a mentor, you're looking for a partner who will be that shield for you even in an adult life, then that's going to cause an issue. So it's very, very, very important to heal from these unmet needs, so that you are able to form much more meaningful and healthy relationships, not only romantically, but in your social life, in your primary social circle, in your secondary social circle, whatever it might be. That is what we wanted to bring your attention to today. And I think we have this one comment by Nivedita. I guess no matter how many therapists we meet or how many counseling sessions we attend, change has to be from within. Self awareness is essential for healing, and this can only happen when we are also ready to accept the truth or any form of constructive criticism. Exactly, Nivedita. So, when we talk about therapy, I think in my therapy sessions, in the first therapy, only when we form rapport, I mention it that it's a 50-50 thing that's going to happen in a therapy. I cannot be the only one giving in efforts and cannot only be from one part. You have to put in a lot of efforts because you're trying to work on something that has been there for maybe 20 years of your life,
Long.
40 years of your life, and you want to change something that is affecting you for so long. You have to put in effort. So exactly, until unless you make it a point to work on it, it will be like no worth
It will
trying.
not help.
Yeah, it will
Yeah,
not
no,
be
no
helpful.
one.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So when we move ahead, the fourth part is the mourning for the loss, right? So basically, in this part of the solution, it's more about, accepting the loss that you had, simply because most of the time what we do is we're just trying to make make it up for the loss or any profound issue emotionally or psychologically in nature we are having, just trying to make ourselves feel better. But I think sometimes what you can do is, just simply as, grieving for that loss, uh, grieving in the sense that would just mean that accepting that loss or that feeling of pain, and not just once, but then whenever you feel there is a need for to grieve for that loss, you can just grieve for that loss, shed your tears in terms, so that that can help as an individual to move ahead in life. It can help you to formulate a, to have certain kind of faith that yes, overcoming and acceptance and overcoming is, I think, the key which we are trying to tell you from this particular solution or this particular way of meeting your unmet needs. Yes. So, I mean, with this, we come to the end of our today's session. So, before we end, I mean, if anybody has any points to add or any questions, you can go ahead. Yes, Hasna, go ahead.
Yeah, I think when you mentioned these four things, the three looks very easy, but mourning for the loss seems very difficult for me as well. It feels like we always need a reason or something that we blame for, like, this is the way I am because my parents treated me this way, because my peers were this way. And just accepting it and grieving it can be really difficult.
Yeah, I know. Like I think most of the time what happens is we are more profound to find a way of dependency on things, or it's more, it seems more easier to blame somebody else, gaslight the things onto somebody else, that this might be the reason, rather than accepting onto it and grieving on the grieving part, which I think definitely would definitely take us times. We all have our different ways of accepting things, and does it sounds a lot difficult than how it is. It is there in words for us, but yeah. I mean, I think once in a while, maybe trying for starting to try it from like smaller things might help us to understand, like, even shedding tears for a particular uh, incident or a particular issue might help us. Yeah, okay. I mean, thank you so much everyone for joining in today. I'm really sorry for uh, the noise disturbances in between. And okay, I mean, we all are looking
It's the
forward
same for
for,
me. Yeah.
yeah,
Sorry for the noise disturbances, guys.
yeah. So definitely, we're looking forward for tomorrow's session as well. We hope all of you would be, joining us tomorrow as well, as tomorrow would be the last day of the session. Uh, okay, yeah. So the assignment would be shared with you via mail. Okay. So you don't have to worry about it. And yeah, there was a question about the previous workshop series, the stress management one. Yeah. So that details would the certificates and the details regarding the same would be shared with you. And also soon we'll be starting you know a support group for understanding relationships. So please keep a check on our Instagram handle, okay, so that you get when and the forms are out
Information.
for joining. Yeah, the information and the forms are out for joining the support group. And also from tomorrow we're starting a research and statistic workshop series. You all can go to our Instagram handle, have a look on the information provided about the series, and it is more in terms of would be helping in the basic understanding of research and research methodologies and statistics. So we would love if you all can join for that as well. The assignment would be shared via mail, on email to all of you. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for joining. And also,
Thank
we
you,
would like
guys.
to thank you for, sharing your insightful thoughts. And, it was even insightful for us to see new perspectives and, viewpoints.
Yeah, like thank you for making it so interactive. So yeah,
Exactly.
thank
Thank you so much, everyone. Where would be the assignment shared? We did talk about it. We
yeah,
will
yeah.
be mailing you.
Mailing will mail them.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for taking out time and joining the session today. We'll be very, very happy if you can join it tomorrow as well.
Yeah,
Looking forward to your participation.
tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys.